Hey, I just wanted to give you guys a quick minute to talk if you're watching currently. Otherwise, I'm just going to make this a normal video. So, on my private Facebook, I'm a very politically outspoken person. I love America, I love freedom, and I believe in treating children as children, not property, and women should have the freedom to live their lives the way they choose. I also believe that you should not have the right to kill anyone if they refuse to share your belief system. I am completely against child marriage, polygamy, rape, beheading someone because they're a rape victim and they brought shame onto your family. And I am very much against killing anyone just because they live differently than you, unless that living differently directly causes harm to other people. Like if you live as a pedophile, if you live as a violent offender, I think as long as you harm no one, go ahead and live your life however you want. Just don't force me to accept it or give praise for it. And I will admit, a few of my private Facebook postings have gone a little over the line. I admit that freely. But the funny thing is, I was put in Facebook jail for a relatively mild post. My post basically says that the Holy Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old, molested her, and treated her as a sex object. And then when she turned 9, he completed the process of raping her by forcible intercourse. And that post I shared also made it clear how the Quran permits this. And in the part where you get to add your own thoughts to your post, I said Muslims are the only ones that are allowed to be pedophiles because of religious freedom. One of my friends on Facebook did not like that, so they reported me. And now I am unable to post anything on Facebook for 3 days. And all I have to say is, it's my page. I will post what I want to. Facts are not hate. And you should be more offended about the evil things that I am reporting than you are the fact that I'm reporting them. I don't give a single damn where you come from, what your culture is, or who you grew up around. You do not have the right to treat anyone as an object to be possessed and used and then discarded when you have completed using them. I will fight you to the death if you try to convince me that I need to be accepting of a belief system that allows violation of basic human rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of whatever makes them happy as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. And that makes me controversial, I guess, and I really don't care. I only care about the fact that my freedom to tell the truth is being infringed upon just because people don't like the truth. George Orwell says, truth becomes hateful to those who hate the truth. And sorry to say, honey, but I'm not about to stop. Facebook can throw me in jail as many times as they want, but I will keep sharing the truth about the vile cult that permits child marriage, child rape, beheading of rape victims to preserve the family's honor, slavery, forced female genital mutilation to preserve chastity, and the beheading of anybody who will not convert into sharing that particular belief system. As an American, I'm very offended that my freedom of speech is being infringed upon just because people don't like what I have to say. It's not as if my posts were wishing acts of violence against all of the people of that belief system. So I really think there's a lot of thin-skinned wimps on my page, and to whoever it was that reported me, I don't hate you. I just think that you need to unfollow me if my posts bother you that much. And I know I'm not the only one dealing with this. One of my relatives got put in Facebook jail a while back because she was attacking someone who was attacking someone else that she loved. They were saying she was being a bully, when in reality she was confronting a bully. I'm wishing that someone will develop a conservative version of Facebook where free speech is not infringed upon just because you don't like what someone says. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But all I know is if someone has something horrible to say about the way a particular people group is living, and there is basis in fact about it, you should be more offended at the fact that it's actually true than the fact that someone is opposed to that belief system because of what they're doing. Now, I think that everyone needs to learn how to handle discussing topics that are divisive. No one knows how to discuss differing opinions anymore without taking it personally and getting all offended just because someone doesn't agree with them. And it's just a shame how backwards things have become, where telling the truth about an evil that is ongoing is more upsetting than the fact that that evil is actually ongoing. So I am wishing I could be a millionaire with my own private island where I could allow a select few people to live on me in that island, away from the idiocracy that is today's world. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. But unfortunately, I am not wealthy, and I cannot afford my own island. Yes, Sir Babs and Dorkin Beans, people just are ridiculous. They think disagreement is a personal attack, and thinking for yourself is foolish. I don't care if you agree with me. I only care that you take the time to do the research yourself, be well informed, and then draw your own conclusions, whatever they may be. But don't think for 1 minute that just because I got thrown in Facebook jail one time means that I'm not going to keep speaking out against an evil that is ongoing and that should be cast away and shunned from all of civilized society. If one of you reports this video for hate speech, then that's your choice. But you need to grow up. Because this is a free world. Everyone is free to think what they wish, but you are not allowed to force what you think onto other people with threats of violence. And yes, I did change my hair color to brown because it more matches my eyebrows. And I think now I look more Italian than ever. But I just had to get that off of my shoulders because I woke up this morning with every intent of just going about my business on Facebook, and then I get that notification that I'm banned for 3 days because someone didn't like what I said. And I'm just funny that it took this long for me to be put in Facebook jail, because I have shared much more inflammatory things in the past that I ended up taking down later on because I realized they did cross the line. And though my sentiments have not changed, I will be more careful. But the truth is offensive to those who hate the truth, and I am happy to offend. Your feelings are not more important than facts. Your desire to love and have peace with everyone will not make those that are trying to kill you stop trying to kill you. In fact, a little while ago, I was in one of my favorite grocery stores wearing my American flag headband that I wear most of the time when I'm out and about. And I saw 3 women in hijabs. I kept a neutral smile because that's what I do when I'm out and about. And they gave me the stink eye because I, an American living in America, had the gall to wear my country's flag upon my head. And I just find it deeply concerning that people are immigrating here thinking we have to change to accommodate them. And that is totally an invasion mentality. They are like the Borg. You must assimilate to their ways, or they will make life difficult for you, if not kill you, depending on if you're in a predominantly Muslim country or not. So I will keep speaking out against evil because I have no tolerance for evil. And if that gets me branded as a hateful and divisive person, so be it. I'm at the point of life where I don't really care what you think of me, as long as you at least give thought to what I have to say. Consider it. Pay attention to the news. All these bombings and murders happening in places like Nigeria and other countries that are becoming more Christian as time is going by. These Muslims are coming in and wiping out entire villages because they won't become Muslim. To me, that is the most evil thing you can do. Convert to my way of thinking and belief system, or you die, or become my slave, where I will work you to death. And if you're watching this and you're getting all enraged and thinking, oh my gosh, Annalise Quinn is so hateful towards these poor, innocent, helpless Muslims, I got some news for you, sugar. They're the ones doing most of the terrorist attacks. They are the ones killing those who won't convert. They are the ones throwing homosexuals off of buildings just because they're homosexual. They are the ones raping and forcibly marrying children who shouldn't even know what sex is yet, let alone rape. They are the ones killing rape victims because the victims allowed themselves to be raped and thus brought shame upon their family honor. They're the ones committing modern-day slavery in predominantly Muslim countries. It is happening right now. And if you don't believe me, look it up. It is happening. They are the largest group that violates basic human rights. And I will be on my deathbed and still speaking against that evil because I have no tolerance for such medieval, savage ways of living. And I know many of you agree with me. And to you, I say, do not give up your way of thinking. Do not compromise. Yes, there are a few that live in peace, but they are not good. They are not good Muslims. They are people that are Muslim in name only, because the Quran expressly says you are to kill all who won't convert. You are to hunt down Christians and Jews and all others who will not convert. You are allowed to marry children. You are allowed to have sex with children. And you are allowed to kill women who have been raped. You are allowed to push gays off of buildings so that they die. And you are allowed to kill women caught in adultery but do nothing to the man. They are evil, they are barbaric, and they have no place in civilized society. And if this gets me in trouble with YouTube as well, I don't care. I am way beyond the point of caring anymore. Because This evil is going on in today's world and people are excusing it just because, oh, it's a different culture. Not all of them are like that. Not all of them do that. And it is sick. You do not have the right to rape a child. You do not have the right to force a child into marriage. You do not have the right to kill a rape victim because she brought shame on your family for being raped. You do not have the right to enslave another person. You do not have the right to kill someone because they won't convert to your belief system. And Dev/Null sounds like you are one that holds those beliefs as acceptable. And to you, I say, I hope you see the error of your ways, and I hope you can convert into being a civilized person who stands up for victims of crime. And your decision to unsubscribe to me will not harm me in any way. I just get so infuriated seeing all these atrocities against people being allowed and accepted and defended just because, oh, they grew up differently than you. Only God can judge. God ordered entire people groups to be exterminated because of the evils they were committing without guilt, shame, or desire to change. I am not saying that I am God. I am not saying we need to kill every single person that holds to that belief. That is not at all what I'm saying. I am saying if you do something evil against anyone in the name of religion, you do not belong living in civilized society. You deserve to be put on a desert island where you have to fend for yourself till your dying breath. And I am not sorry. And you cannot make me sorry. In Michigan, Christian ministers are being put in jail for trying to witness to Muslims. Last I checked, this was not Islamic America. We were founded on Christian values. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and freedom to have religion that you choose. And the truth is, Islam violates the right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness if you do not completely live the way they say you need to. And so I will be more than happy to keep speaking out against it, regardless of the consequences. Several friends and family have warned me that by being so outspoken, I'm going to get in trouble. And to that, I say bring it on. I would rather be punished for speaking the truth against an evil that is being allowed to continue than be silent and say nothing and cower in the face of being censored for speaking out. And if you decide to unsubscribe to me because I offend you, go ahead. I'm not going to miss you. I'm not going to care. I care about getting the truth out there and making sure as many people hear it as possible. And I just wish more of the silent majority were like that. Thank you, friend Jay, and thank you, Dork and Beans. I appreciate the support. I really do. It's just as I get older, and I'm getting closer to 30, my tolerance for mistreatment and abuse of innocent people is infuriating to me. And I would rather be seen as the angry, fighting Italian American who speaks her mind at every turn and doesn't censor anything than be a coward who sits on the sidelines, silent, thinking the same beliefs I still think now, but being too pathetic and weak to speak out. My goal is not to cause hate. My goal is not to incite violence. My goal is to bring awareness of the disease that is plaguing humanity that is called Islam. And I don't hate all Muslims. There are several people that are Muslim in name only, and they don't do the evil things. Them I have no problem with. But the minute you start using your holy book that was written by a pedophile to justify mistreating other humans as property to be used, abused, and then discarded, I have a problem with you. And everyone who's paying attention should have a problem with that as well. Man, all this emotion is making me thirsty. It was funny when I called one of my relatives to tell her, hey, I'm in Facebook jail. She laughed and laughed and laughed because she knows it's stupid. It's ridiculous. There are actual Nazis and other peoples calling for the extermination, murder, enslavement, and other horrible crimes against other people groups just because they are other people groups. If you are an anti-Semite, I will have no dealings with you. Because Jerusalem and Israel have every right to exist in the world. The Nazis tried to exterminate them, they failed. And now the Muslims are trying to exterminate them, and they are failing. And I support Israel till my dying breath. Because you have the right to exist. And you do not have the right to stamp out a whole people group just because they're genetically different than you. Just because they were born in a specific location or they share a specific heritage. And if that gets me dirty looks when I wear my pro-Israel pin on my coat, so be it. I will not give dirty looks in return because I am better than you. I realize how childish that sounded just as it came out of my mouth. But at this point, I don't care. When those 3 women wearing hijabs gave me dirty looks in that grocery store, I was tempted to go, But I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to be more mature and responsible for my actions and to not stoop low like others. But there continues to be experiences that are testing that. So, only time will tell where things will go in this country. But I thank God that I'm not in actual jail yet for saying what I believe without shame or hesitation. And unless the silent majority stands up and stops being silent, our country is in grave danger of becoming like those other Middle Eastern countries where you don't have the freedom to say whatever you feel or think or believe without risk of being imprisoned or beaten or even killed. So I really urge all of you, all of my conservative viewers, get up, get to the voting polls when the voting opens, and speak up for freedom. We have Muslims in Congress right now and in the House of Representatives, and it disgusts me that such an uncivilized, backwards belief system is allowed to have a say in what our country does. I'm also opposed to Catholicism for similar reasons. It's been shown that the Pope has been involved in covering up sex abuse scandals with the lower clergymen and even the people directly beneath him. And I say they are just as bad as the Muslims. The minute you partake in evil like that, where you take the innocence away from a young individual who has no control or ability to protect themselves, you are subhuman. You do not deserve the title of human being. You deserve the title of creature or monster. And if you defend people doing those things too, you lose your humanity. I know God is the final judge, but his word is very clear that you are not to mislead innocents or cause them to stumble or purposefully cause harm to them. And the minute you go against that is the minute that I will oppose you till my dying breath. I don't believe I've told any of you this before. This is not an easy thing to talk about. But when I was 5 years old, or 4 years old, I was a young child. I was in my front yard by myself while Mom was in the kitchen preparing my lunch. And a neighbor kid that was older than me by 10 to 15 years, I don't even remember. He came up to me and he touched me inappropriately. And that has been a memory I've tried to put past me. But I remember it just as if it had happened a week ago. I remember feeling helpless. I remember feeling ashamed that I didn't stop him. And I remember thinking, Mom's gonna be mad at me that I let this happen. So I kept quiet about it for years. I was a young child, defenseless, helpless, couldn't protect myself, and I got taken advantage of. After I was touched inappropriately, I ran into the house, and I didn't tell my mom, because I was afraid she'd be mad at me. So I kept that secret for over a decade. And it wasn't until 12 years ago that I told her what happened. She felt horrible. She felt like she had somehow failed as a parent. Because I got touched when I was in the front yard and she was in the kitchen. And when I explained to her why I didn't tell her sooner, she felt horrible. She felt like she had somehow failed me because she didn't tell me that if someone touches you inappropriately, you run and you tell me right now, and I will not be mad at you. I will be mad at the one that did that. She may have told me that, but I don't remember. I was just a kid. And when I told her why I didn't tell her, she felt horrible. And I will never let go of that feeling of helplessness and that irrational fear. And so, yes, that's probably a contributing factor as to why I'm so angry at all these abuses. But even those of you who were never touched, you should be just as fired up mad as I am that they are allowed to do this. And that we get censored. We get in trouble for speaking out about it. So I just urge you, don't be silent. Don't be quiet just to keep the peace. We need to get everyone riled up and angry. You need to be able to speak out and not give a damn about the consequences. I don't care if Facebook bans me for a month. I will not stop talking about a religion that allows things like this to happen to me. And dystopian, it is not hate speech if it's the truth. There are multiple passages in the Quran that permit all the evils I've mentioned. It is not xenophobic to fear an evil cult. You are clearly ignorant, and I wish that you would do your own research. Because in the Quran, you're permitted to violate every human right that there is in the name of religion and pleasing Allah. Well, guess what? You don't have the right to do that under the name of any religion. You don't have the right to violate someone's right to life, freedom, to make their own life decisions, and the right to do what makes you happy as long as you don't hurt others. And I do not condone what happened in New Zealand. I do not. But the world does not need to stop just because a handful of them got shot up when thousands of Christians, Jews, and other non-converts get wiped out every single day by people claiming Islam as their belief system. Fun fact, dystopian, the Crusades were brought on because the Muslims were taking over. They were raping and murdering all who wouldn't convert to Islam. So the Crusades were a necessary evil to fight an evil that was ever growing. That is why it happened. Look it up yourself and you will see. Again, I don't condone hurting innocent people. I do not. That is why I'm so angry, because these people are allowed to hurt innocents in the name of religion. But if you violate someone's right to live in peace and safety because your God or your pedophile prophet tells you you can, you are evil, you are not human, and you do not deserve to be treated as one. So go ahead and call it hate speech if you wish, but I am only speaking a very ugly truth that you do not want to hear. I am just completely unwilling to stop speaking out against evil, because evil doesn't go away by you saying nothing. Being silent only helps the oppressor, not those being oppressed. How else do you think all the Jews in Nazi Germany were able to be exterminated? No one said anything. It was up to America to step in and fight, because the German people were so blinded by their love for their charismatic leader